Hi, it's Richard here from the OPA Hub website with a short video about our Excel as a data connection adventure we've been having. Of course, first things first, before we look at the code, one of the great things about learning this way is the ability to dump everything to XML, which I've been doing each time I've been investigating how to approach this in Visual Studio. Most of the code is essentially generated by the WSDL utility, which we mentioned as being available if you've installed probably .NET. And running it generates some stub code for each of the standard endpoints, which we went away then and built replacement code to implement load and save, and they all depend upon this spreadsheet with its named ranges. If we take a look at get metadata for a moment, you'll see that I'm opening a spreadsheet here, and if we scroll down, you'll see that I basically iterate through a bunch of fields and create something called a meta table and patch these fields into the meta table and pass them out as a response before killing off Excel. Load is almost the same in the sense that it works with both tables and fields, but also a row of data. This particular example you see here, I was messing with hard-coded values to get the actual response to work. And in the save, again, similar system. We'll be bringing in the save request and mapping it out to a save response, but in the meantime, of course, updating Excel with the values from the save request. It's all pretty straightforward. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that both load and save have a context object that allows us to grab anything that's passed in. And of course, it allows us to test our web service using SOAP UI to make sure that we're getting the right kind of response. I'm going to publish this to my web server. I'm using Amazon Elastic Beanstalk to push this little ASMX web service to the cloud. Now I'm on the cloud, and this is my web server. And if we go to my web server, you'll see that I have an app web folder. And in there, if I look at the content view, you'll see I have my web service 1. Web service 1 is the web service which is used as the connector by the OPA Hub. You will have to mess around with this. It's highly unrecommended, but for the purpose of my demonstration, I had to mess with the owners of the processes for my application. Here's my Excel spreadsheet with 3 separate sections and 2 named ranges. One named range for the metadata, one named range for the data, and a single cell up at the top, C4, for the name of the entity. Okay, so let's just check that this is all working the way it should do. I'm assuming the code is still here. So now we can get on with actually building a sample project. I'm going to copy and paste in the name of the hub, log in, and create a new project. And we'll go to the Data tab and select the Data Mapping Settings, and we'll choose the Excel Web Service. Fingers crossed. Yep, there we go. And we can select the object from the drop-down, and we will use Update since the prototype only uses Update. And now we have our typical job. We'll go ahead and create 4 attributes since there were 4 fields in my Excel spreadsheet. This one will be the car model. It will be a text attribute, and we can now see that we have field 1 and field 1 for the mapped out as well. So far so good. So this, if you will, is proof that both the check alive and the get metadata endpoints seem to work okay. There's field 2, which is a number. And let's do field 3. Purchase date, make it a date, and there's field 3. All looking good so far. And the final one is a Boolean, so let's pop in a verb. The car is drivable. And there is field number 4. Excellent. Okay, so as usual, we'll have to go into the interview and add a new screen and change the button type to submit to get rid of that warning message, sorry, that error message. And we're just going to slap the 4 attributes straight on the page. We're not going to do any rules, so the interview will be essentially goalless, and we'll see a warning at the end of the interview that there have been no rules. We're just going to go straight away now and deploy a snapshot. fast as we can, because I'm sure you're fed up looking at this, copy this URL, and let's go to our temp folder. Just a reminder, there's the spreadsheet, and we're going to be working with row number 2, my wife Anna. And just to, let's fire up and let's go ahead and open a browser. And in the code we have an attribute, we have a context item called ID, and we'll say ID equals 2. And up comes the data from row number 2 in the spreadsheet. We're going to change the engine size from 200 to 1500, and we'll change the car drivability from false to true, sorry. And as I said, there are no rules, but there's been no error messages, so we can now switch back to our spreadsheet way over here in the cloud, and we'll see that both the date, the number, and the Boolean have been updated. I hope you enjoyed this little demo of Excel as a data connection source. Have fun. See you next time on the OPA Hub.